Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to take a look at Dragon number 78 from October of 1983. Oh no, a Halloween issue, you say? No, actually not. They hadn't started doing that in Dragon. It would be another few years before they do that in October and then do the April Fool's issue in April. This is just a regular issue of Dragon and a pretty good one. Citadel by the Sea is the featured module in here. I did run that. It's a good module. It was a contest they did years ago, and this was the winning entry, and it was really good. I turned it into a sandbox and ran it as a campaign for a fair number of games. So real quick, subscribers, please, and patrons, please, to existing subscribers and patrons, thank you. Please take a look at Patreon, see if you can help out there. That's it. End of commercial. Back to important stuff. From October 1983, Dragon number 78, today on page 121. Dragon magazine number 78 from October 1983. Neat cover, some kind of butterfly dragon with the younglings. I like the cover a lot. Join the Quest. ElfQuest figures from Ral Partha, sculpted by Julie Guthrie. I don't have any of these. I didn't play ElfQuest, so maybe that's why I didn't look at them. Explore the ultimate fantasy world. ICE brings you the legendary realms of Middle-earth. Middle-earth role-playing system, MERPS, from Iron Crown Enterprises. Table of contents. What's in this issue for October of 83? Like I say, this is before they would devote the month to ghoulies and ghosties and long-leggedy beasties and things that go bump in the night. They would just do kind of a normal Dragon in the month of October, just as they only did 1 or 2 gags in the April edition instead of making it an all April Fool's thing. Later on, they would go to all April Fools. Here's editorial by Kim Maughan, and then Out on a Limb. These are letters to the editor, what they think is right and wrong with Dragon magazine. Congratulations on and thanks. 7 games and game products were honored recipients of the 1983 Strategist Club Awards. They would be Outstanding Board Game, GI Anvil of Victory, Outstanding Role-Playing Game, the Star Frontiers game, Outstanding Game Open Category, Jasmine, Battle for the Mid-Realm, Outstanding Game Play Aid 2, Champions 2, oh, that was I remember that one, Outstanding Miniature Rules Striker, very good, Outstanding Miniature Figures, Grenadier, and Outstanding Professional Magazine, Dragon Magazine. So there you go. James Bond 007, enter the Victory Games world of James Bond, role-playing in Her Majesty's Secret Service. And this is from Victory Games out of Baltimore, Maryland. Never played that James Bond. Some comments people have put say it was a really good one. Mind Games, Psionics in the AD&D world. Psionics is different, and that's putting it rather mildly, by Arthur Collins. I remember reading this article. We had already abandoned Psionics by about 2 years by this point. I remember going through to see if there was anything in this would make me change my mind on that. Never really did. I know a lot of people love Psionics and think it's a great part of the game. I always thought, honestly, it was a little too science fiction-y for D&D. That was one of my objections to it. And this article was of limited use to me back in the day. We get a nice ad for Lost Worlds by Nova Game Designs, based on figures by Ral Partha out of Manchester, Connecticut. So we keep going with the Psionic article. We got Suspense in the 1920s, Call of Cthulhu, role-playing for investigators of the occult. The Call of Cthulhu is still around, still going strong. For Judges Guild, Super Sentinels. Fly Through the Air with the Greatest Duties. Superhero games were pretty big in 83. We were just about to get the Marvel Superheroes game. I think that came out in 84. So, not too surprised Judges Guild had one. Continuing on the Psionic article, we get the Companions. 50-page booklets, fabulous maps and display from for $8.50 at your favorite game store from Bath, Maryland, and your source for a wide range of figures and games. The Tin Soldier in Springfield, Massachusetts, and a nice ad for Tarsus, World Beyond the Frontier from Game Designers Workshop. This was an outstanding set. I really like it. I took a look at it in the channel a few months ago. Tarsus is just a really good set. Continuing on, the very long article on Psionics. And then we have dungeon floor modules, 13 square feet of color and sturdy cardstock. These were still relatively new back then, 83. I bought a set in 83 or 84 and used them for a very long time, up until the late 90s. Fantasy Takes Flight with Marvelous Beasties by Dragontooth. And these are out of New York, New York. We get a nice Sage Advice column. Gotta love Sage Advice. Really helpful, really fun to just go back sometimes, pull out the Dragon magazine, sit down and read the Sage Advice columns. Trespassers, This Is My Home, Ravenloft, an AD&D adventure of gothic horror. The classic Ravenloft from 1983. Innovative module. Very different, very 19th century Transylvania kind of flavor to it. And it would lead, of course, to the larger Ravenloft setting years later. Continuing on Sage Advice, we get an ad for Citadel Miniatures. For Canadians, we have Fantasy Tribe Fighters. I have this guy. I think I have this guy. Oh, I have this guy. I have several of these. Wow, I'm surprised. From Ratham, out of Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. For Canadians only. Interesting. Continuing on the Sage Advice column, we get Fantasy Lords by Grenadier. Real adventure treasure for your next adventure. I love Grenadier stuff. Oh yeah, the Fantasy Lords series. I have a few of those around here. Overhauling the System, the 3-part remedy for problems with psionics. So again, I read through this, just, change my mind, and they didn't. Adventures from Thieves Guild. Thieves Guild. A lot of people love Thieves Guild. Games Lord Limited out of Gaithersburg, Maryland. I tried some Thieves Guild stuff. I tried to roll it into D&D. I didn't grab the flavor. I read a few of the books. It just didn't grab me for whatever reason. I don't know why. Add some magic to your campaign with the Complete Alchemist and the Complete Spellcaster at finer hobby stores from Bard Games in Greenwich, Connecticut. There's more where this came from. You could subscribe to Dragon Magazine or to Amazing, just Amazing, for all the various, you can pick up back issues. This just for back issues of both. Dark Horse, 12 new releases. The Armory in Baltimore, Maryland. Different figures from the Armory. Don't know if I've got these guys. Available from fine stores. And let's see, Indianapolis is the only one represented here. No Illinois. Interesting. I probably don't have any of these then. And now the Psionicist, a class that moves psionics into the mainstream. So you could have an NPC class, and let's face it, most of us made these player character classes, but I did not. This is a very psionics-heavy issue. I probably grumbled at the time. Villains and Vigilantes, a superhero role-playing game. This is from Fantasy Games Unlimited. I liked V&V, played it in the early 80s, went over to Champs, stayed with Champs. Continuing on our Psionicist class, the Duncan Company out of Calvert, Texas, lets us, there are 9 tri-cavity molds and more coming. Figures designed especially for role-playing, and they are super. Casting your figures is almost as much fun as playing the game. I was interested in casting my own figures. I never got around to it. Reactor, the first super game supplement. 15 supervillains attack a fusion power plant in 4 separate scenarios. Are you hero enough to stop them? From Super Game out of Santa Monica, California. As I said, superhero role-playing games were getting big right about this time. New murder mystery series. Who Killed Roger Ellington and Murder by Proxy. I think I played Who Killed Roger Ellington. From Just Games in Garden City, New York. FRP AIDS and Board Games. And Play-by-Mail Games. These guys were from Viking Games in Charlotte, North Carolina. Different offerings from those guys. The Daryeni? Yeah. An adaptation by Arthur Collins. They are the creation of Catherine Kurtz, whose chronicles tell the story of the ups and downs of the race and struggles to bridge the gap between gifted Daryeni and ordinary humans. And this is adapted for the AD&D game. I'm not really familiar with this. But here you go. You could use them in your game. Game Masters Hobbies Incorporated, adventure gaming specialists for miniatures, board games, and more role-playing games. And this is Game Masters Hobbies from San Francisco, California. Free subscription to the Gamers Guild, Kentwood, Michigan. Not familiar with that one. Hobby Game Distributors on Lawrence Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Huh. If you wish to be included in the listings. Bayer's Hobby Shop in Illinois. Never went there. Friends Hobby Shop, no. Games Plus, yes, and it's still there. It's just across the street from where it was when this was published. Join the Warriors of White Light. When the countdown ends, the adventure begins. Skim over seas of molten rock. Oh, this is for the Star Frontiers game from TSR. I love Star Frontiers. It's a lot of fun. Heroes and Villains of the Daryini. Characters spanning 200 years of fictional history. So again, if you're familiar with this, which I am not and was not back then, this would have been quite the find. And then we get the Wizards Corner, Saskatoon's Fantasy Role-Playing Game Center from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. Citadel by the Sea, first place module design contest category A1. I remember running this one back in the day. I did like it. Designed by Sid Fisher. I did enjoy this. It was kind of I turned it into a sandbox where you had a literal Citadel by the Sea and your players were just active in there. This was an active campaign of mine for a year or two back in the day. But it was based primarily on this. But like I said, I made it a true sandbox instead of just dungeon crawl. Not that there's anything wrong with just a dungeon crawl. It's just how I did it. Continuing on. This was a long module. I did like this one. When the Four of Conscious meld. Discover the secret, complete the quest. World of Velgor. Is this a play-by-mail? It sure looks like one. Age of Misery. Let's see. Yep, looks like a play-by-mail. And this was from Comstar Enterprises out of Miami, Florida. Figure feature, Citadel Miniatures. I have a lot of the horse figures. I think I have both of those. Saxon Minis, I don't remember either one of them. Broadsword Miniatures, nope. Relpartha, love Relpartha. Don't think I have those, though. And Superior Models. Science Fiction and Gaming Convention Calendar from 1983. Let's see. RockCon in Rockford, Illinois would be about the closest to me. It'd be about a 2-hour ride. StarQuest. Have you always wanted to experience the thrills of your favorite science fiction books and heroes? Here's how. StarQuest. Another play-by-mail, it looks like. Choose from many types of starships. The first game that allows players to experience character-level innovation, science fiction correspondence game, yes. Play-by-mail. Entertainment concepts out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Be Thy Die Ill-Wrought. Only those that pass the cheese square test can play. And then lots of math on how your dice roll, if they're fair or if they're not fair. Bushido and Aftermath, both by Fantasy Games Unlimited. You can be a samurai or you can be wandering through the ruins. A basic program to calculate cheese square values. And there you go. If you were into computers in 1983, this guy was for you. The Egyptian Trilogy, Man, Myth, and Magic. Role-playing game, Man's Greatest Adventures. This was from... Let's see. From... No CODs. Yeah, Quinto Publications in Dallas, Texas. Use some magic, Dragon Bone. I remember seeing some Dragon Bone sitting at the table here and there, especially the club I was at. Somebody come in with a new Dragon Bone and everybody swarm around them. Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan miniatures. Didn't buy any of these. Kind of regret that I didn't. The Ecology of the Mind Flayers, told by someone who ought to know, by Roger Moore. I loved this article. It gave me a new way to look at mind flayers. Always a good thing. Broadsword Miniatures, speak for themselves. Send for your free catalog. From Norcross, Georgia. If he's dead by noon, the money is yours, the hooded man growled across the filthy table at the Hangman Tavern. None if he lives. Tired of the same old dungeon routine? You can play by mail on this guy. From Midkemia Press in San Diego, California. Christmas sale, Castle Creations, 31 25mm superheroes for $20. Interesting. Believe me, Christmas was a big time for me in my role-playing gathering. Still is, actually. Hover tanks, tactical simultaneous combat movement, simulation of warfare in the years 2054 to 2115. You could also get the Falklands War naval conflict in the Missile Age from Close Simulations out of Northbrook, Illinois. That's not too far from me. Spells can be psionic too. How and Why Magic Resembles Mental Powers by Kim Maughan. And I did that with the psionic powers in our game, is I just went ahead and morphed them over to be magical effects that did the same thing that the psionic power did, and magic resistance applied and things like that. It just helped clean it up a little bit. Space Opera from Fantasy Games Unlimited. Space Opera was a fun game. One of the earliest science fiction role-playing games. And then we got Mission from Cabal Gaming Systems out of Seminole, Florida. Super World, the super-powered role-playing game from Chaosium, Albany, California. Like I said, superhero games were on the rise. Earthwood, these are the challenges of Earthwood from Saga, GSI at out of Miami, Florida. If you're moving, here's a change of address for Dragon Magazine. Games Plus, your SPI specialists. Looking for the special historical board game or computer game? Give us a call. Games Plus on Bussey Avenue in Mount Prospect, Illinois. 2 blocks northwest of Mount Prospect train station. I love Games Plus. It's a great store. Pop the Clutch and Roll. Rules for car chases and top secret play. That was hard. I tried doing a couple of car chases in top secret to the point of actually using a couple of Matchbox cars or Hot Wheels as the cars and having a little road set up. Very hard to simulate with the rules we had then. I can do it a little better now, but car chases are still tough in role-playing games. Samurai Warriors from Citadel Miniatures in Cambridge, Ontario, Canada. Continuing on our car chase, the Palladium books of Weapons and Armor, Weapons and Castles, Weapons and Assassins out of Detroit, Michigan. Palladium books. Continuing on our car chase, The Complete Strategist, the newest adventure lies on the horizon. Complete Strategist locations. Oh, gaming headquarters. That's kind of neat. Terrifyingly Beautiful, the 1984 Dungeons & Dragons calendar by Tim Hildebrandt. 14 vibrant original works. Yes, this was in the issue I did last time, too. Christmas time was a wonderful time back in the early to mid-'80s. Star Commander from Historical Concepts. Starting as the captain of a lowly scout ship, you race the other Star Commander players to complete your first space fleet. That's interesting. Cradle of Civilization, designer quality blank encounters. Looks like it's a play-by-mail. The best role-playing magazine. Space Gamer and Fantasy Gamer. I have some Space Gamers lying around here. It was a pretty good magazine, but it was not easy to find in this area. I don't know why. This is out of Austin, Texas. Don't really know why Space Gamer was tough to come by, but it really was. The Thrill of the Hunt. Dragon Quest rules for finding fresh food. Played some Dragon Quest, a little bit. Stop, don't read any further if you've already taken the What's New quiz on page 9091. Okay, so we're not going to look at that. Let Railpartha's fantasies go bump in your night. So, some Railpartha monsters. Don't have any of those that I don't know off the top of my head, nothing pictured. Battle mats and mega mats. Battle mats were real important in the mid-'80s. Used battle mat for years. Stormhaven, Rogues Gallery, Mercenary Spies, and Private Eyes from Blade in Scottsdale, Arizona, including 15 cardboard heroes made especially for the game. Don't miss out on Nexus. Nexus is one of those games that was always on the shelves. It was always there. I always looked at it, and I never ended up buying it. Each Nexus contains a Starfleet battle section. That's pretty cool. From Task Force Games out of Amarillo, Texas. Or Nexus Magazine out of Amarillo, Texas. Task Force Games. Gamer's Guide. Lots of different things you can look for and buy. I'm not going to go through each one of these guys. Page 90. Hey gang, for years What's New has been helping you with hone your gaming skills. Well, here's your chance to prove it. And you go through here and then you go back to the thing on the other page that shows all the answers. I remember enjoying this. I remember trying to figure it all out and everything and then going and looking at the answers. And Wormy, we only get a one-page installment of Wormy. I don't think Wormy is going to be around for very much longer. I know it just kind of ends abruptly. It never really got finished. We have Snarf Quest. We always got 3 or 4 pages of Snarf Quest. And then we get the end of Out on a Limb, which is the letters to the editor. King of the Tabletop Rules, Questions, and Answers. And Index to Advertisers. And then Harn, Dawn of a New Fantasy World. I had a few Harn things. They were not bad. I liked them well enough. This was no COD, of course, cash on delivery. This is Columbia Games out of Blaine, Washington. Cash on delivery, as explained last time we looked at Dragon, was you would send away for it. A guy would show up at your door with the package. You'd have to pay whatever was owed on the package upon delivery. If you didn't pay, you didn't get the stuff. Most places would not do cash on delivery by this point because they were sending out stuff that just ended up coming back to them. Iron Crown Enterprises proudly announces the release of the Fellowship of the Ring, the first in a new series of board games based on J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. And this was from Iron Crown Enterprises. So there you have it. A very psionics heavy issue of Dragon. No real Halloween flavor at all, but like I say, that would come in a few more years. But a good solid issue of the Dragon. A little heavy on psionics for my taste, but I love Citadel by the Sea and the article on the Mind Flayers, so well worth my $3. So that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I want to thank you for watching. Please leave comments below, and if you liked what you heard and saw, leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. And that's it for today, and I'll see you next time on page 121.